Title: The Dinner That Changed Everything. It was a crisp evening in Los Angeles, the kind of night that felt electric with possibility. The city sparkled under the glow of neon lights, and at a secluded rooftop restaurant, Taylor Swift sat across from her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. The atmosphere was perfect, soft music playing in the background, candles flickering on the table, and a gentle breeze brushing against their skin. As they sipped their wine, laughter and flirtation flowed effortlessly between them. Taylor wore a stunning emerald green dress that highlighted her every feature, and Travis, in a tailored suit, looked every bit the NFL star he was. They shared stories of their hectic lives, dreams for the future, and the delightful absurdities of celebrity culture. But then, as the main course arrived, Travis leaned back in his chair, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. "You know, babe, I've been thinking," he began, eyes glinting with playful mischief. "If we ever have kids, I hope they inherit my athleticism. I mean, just imagine them dominating the field, maybe even breaking some records." Taylor's smile faltered, confusion knitting her brows. "That's great, Travis, but what if they want to pursue music or art instead?" Travis chuckled, waving his hand dismissively. "Come on, Taylor. I think we both know sports are where the real fun is. It would be awesome to have a little mini-me throwing touchdowns or scoring goals." Her heart sank. It wasn't just what he said, it was the way he said it, as if dismissing everything she had worked for. The room felt suddenly charged, the air thick with tension. "You really don't think they could do anything else?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. He shrugged, still amused. "I mean, they could, but why wouldn't we want to raise a champion? Think about it, Swift, powerful, unbeatable." Taylor took a deep breath, attempting to quell the rising anger. "So, what you're saying is that anything outside of sports is second-rate. What about my world? What about the creativity and passion I've dedicated my life to?" Travis's playful demeanor shifted. "I didn't mean it like that, Tay. I just—" "No," she interjected, her voice rising. "You did. You think it's all about sports and winning. You're reducing our future children to mere trophies." The tension between them simmered, both of their faces flushed. The restaurant felt too small, the whispers of other diners echoing in her ears. Taylor could feel her heart racing, the flickering candle flame seeming to dim as if the universe was holding its breath. "Look, I get it," Travis said, leaning forward, his expression turning serious. "I respect your passion. But what's wrong with wanting them to have an edge? Isn't that what any parent would want?" "Wanting them to excel is one thing," Taylor replied, her voice barely a whisper now, laced with hurt. "But don't you see? You're saying that anything outside of your world isn't worth pursuing." Silence fell between them, the weight of their words hanging in the air. She could see his brow furrow, his mouth opening and closing as if searching for the right words. But what could he say? Taylor had poured her heart and soul into her music, and all he saw was the allure of fame and competition. After a long moment, she stood up, pushing her chair back. "I need a moment," she said, her voice trembling. "I can't believe you would think that way." As she walked away from the table, her heart ached with rage and disappointment. She had always known that Travis was competitive, but this was a revelation that cut deeper than any headline or rumor. She stepped out onto the balcony, the cool air hitting her like a splash of water. Stars twinkled above, and for a moment, she felt the familiar comfort of music swirling in her mind. She thought of all the songs she had written about love, heartbreak, and the complexities of relationships. Could this be another story to tell, another lesson learned? As she leaned against the railing, the anger began to fade, replaced by a determination that fueled her passion. She would not let anyone diminish her dreams or those of her future children. After a few moments, she turned to go back inside, ready to face Travis, but before she could step back into the restaurant, she paused. She had something to say, something important, and she needed to find the right words. The evening might have started with laughter and love, but it was ending with a pivotal conversation, one that would define not just their relationship, but their future together. As she re-entered, she took a deep breath, steeling herself for the fight that would ensure her voice, and the voices of her future, would always be heard. Title: A Night to Remember. It was a cool evening in Los Angeles, the kind where the air had that hint of salt from the ocean and the city was alive with twinkling lights. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce had chosen a cozy rooftop restaurant, adorned with fairy lights and a breathtaking view of the skyline, for their romantic dinner. The atmosphere was perfect, filled with soft music and laughter, setting the stage for what Taylor hoped would be a night to remember. As they settled into their plush seats, the conversation flowed easily between them. They shared stories about their lives, careers, and dreams, their chemistry undeniable. Taylor couldn't help but smile as she watched Travis animatedly recount his latest football game, his passion radiating through every word. "Okay, but you have to admit," Travis said, leaning back in his chair, a playful smirk on his face, "I'm basically the MVP of your heart right now. I mean, who else could juggle being a superstar athlete and dating someone as iconic as you?" Taylor's smile faltered. At first, she thought he was joking, but the tone in his voice felt off. It was like he was positioning himself as a catch, perhaps even diminishing her own accomplishments in the process. She had been in the industry long enough to recognize when someone was trying to one-up her. "Wow, Travis," she said, her voice steady but laced with an edge. "So, you're saying your worth in this relationship is based on your football skills?" Travis raised an eyebrow, caught off guard. No, that's not what I meant. I was just—" "I know what you were just," she interrupted, her temper flaring. "You think it's cute to make jokes like that, but it feels more like you're diminishing my career and everything I've worked for." He opened his mouth to respond, but Taylor continued, her voice growing stronger, fueled by the fire of her passion. "I get that you're proud of being a football player, but I'm also proud of my achievements, and I don't need anyone to compare them." The laughter and music around them faded as the tension between them escalated. Travis' expression shifted from surprise to confusion, and then to concern. "Taylor, I didn't mean it that way. I respect you, and I admire everything you do." "Do you really?" she shot back, her eyes narrowing. "Because it feels like you're just trying to make this about you. I'm not just a trophy girlfriend to show off at your games. I'm Taylor Swift, a musician, an artist, and I'm proud of my identity." The waitress approached, but Taylor waved her off, wanting to address the elephant in the room. Travis leaned in, lowering his voice. "I'm sorry, I really didn't think about how that would come across. I just wanted to make you laugh." "Laughing at my expense is not the same as supporting me, Travis," she said, her voice firm but not devoid of emotion. "I'm all for playful banter, but there's a line, and you crossed it tonight." Silence enveloped their table as the weight of her words settled in. Travis rubbed the back of his neck, visibly shaken. "I never want to hurt you, Taylor. You mean a lot to me. I promise, I'll be more mindful." She took a deep breath, her anger subsiding just enough to allow room for understanding. "I appreciate that, but you need to realize that my career is a big part of who I am. It's not a competition, we should be celebrating each other, not diminishing each other's worth." Travis nodded slowly, his eyes searching hers. "I get it. I really do. And I'm sorry for being insensitive. Let's move forward together, not against each other." With a slight smile returning to her face, Taylor softened. "Thank you. That's all I ask." As they continued their dinner, the earlier tension began to melt away. They shared stories and laughter, this time with a newfound understanding that allowed them to appreciate their unique paths. The night may have started with a spark of anger, but it transformed into a deeper connection, a lesson learned, and a step forward in their relationship. Title: A Night to Remember. Taylor Swift sat across the table from Travis Kelce, her heart fluttering with excitement as they enjoyed a romantic dinner in a chic Los Angeles restaurant. The ambience was perfect, soft candlelight flickered around them, and a gentle melody played in the background. They had been dating for a few months, and Taylor was captivated by Travis's charm, wit, and undeniable talent. As the waiter poured their wine, Travis leaned in, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "You know, I've always been a sucker for a good love story," he said, a playful grin on his face. "But I gotta admit, yours are getting a bit repetitive. It's like a greatest hits album, break up, make up, repeat." Taylor's smile faltered. "What do you mean by that?" she asked, her voice steady but tinged with a hint of disbelief. She'd often shared her music's personal roots with him, the emotions behind her lyrics. Travis, oblivious to her rising tension, continued, "I mean, you're so talented, but maybe it's time to try something different. How about a song about a guy who stays instead of leaving? Or better yet, a song about a guy who doesn't end up in a tabloid?" His words struck a nerve, and Taylor's face flushed with a mix of anger and hurt. She took a deep breath, trying to collect her thoughts. "Travis, my experiences inspire my art. Every relationship teaches me something. Just because you see it one way doesn't mean it's all bad." He paused, suddenly aware that he had crossed a line. "I didn't mean to offend you," he said, reaching for her hand. "I just thought—" "Thought what?" Taylor interrupted, pulling her hand away. "That you could critique my life's work over a romantic dinner? You're not the only one who has feelings, Travis. This isn't just about you." Travis shifted in his seat, his expression shifting from playful to serious. "I'm sorry, I didn't realize it would hit you like that. I thought we could joke about it." "Joke? You think this is a joke?" Taylor's voice was rising now, drawing the attention of nearby diners. This is my life. I don't write songs just to entertain, they're reflections of my journey. The tension hung thick in the air as silence enveloped their table. Travis's eyes softened, and he leaned closer, attempting to bridge the gap he had created. I really admire your passion, Taylor. I just thought. Maybe you should think before you speak, she snapped, her voice low but fierce. I don't need a boyfriend who makes light of my struggles. I'm not just a character in your own romantic comedy. Realizing he had struck a nerve, Travis leaned back, giving her space. Okay, I get it. I messed up. But can we talk about this? I want to understand where you're coming from. Taylor took a moment, her heart racing as she tried to rein in her emotions. It's not just about this dinner, Travis. I'm tired of people reducing my experiences to punchlines or headlines. My music is personal. It's how I process my life. If you can't respect that, then what? He pressed, his voice softening. I really like you, Taylor. I wouldn't want to lose you over a stupid comment. I just thought, maybe I could help you see it differently. She took a deep breath, the fire in her belly cooling slightly. I appreciate that, but I need you to understand that it's not just about seeing things differently. It's about understanding what I've gone through. Travis nodded, his expression earnest. You're right. I'm sorry. I'll do better. The waiter returned to check on them, sensing the shift in atmosphere. Taylor glanced at her plate, feeling a mix of frustration and vulnerability. Can we just eat? I don't want to fight anymore. Of course, Travis said, lifting his glass. To better conversations. Taylor clinked her glass with his, though her heart still felt heavy. As they resumed their meal, the tension lingered, but there was a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, they could navigate this storm together. Later, as they walked out into the warm LA night, Taylor turned to Travis. I hope you understand why that upset me. I do, he replied, his eyes sincere. And I'm really sorry. I'll listen better next time. Taylor smiled faintly, feeling a glimmer of the connection they shared. Maybe they could work through this after all, but she knew one thing for sure, her art would always come first. And she wouldn't let anyone diminish its worth, not even the man she was falling for. Under the twinkling stars of LA, they found their way back to each other, realizing that love was not just about the highs but also navigating the lows together.